adulthood in order to become a more informed and involved citizen.
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, and I have hope thanks to people like you. How old are you again?
13.
13. Here's a couple things I want to encourage you to do. Learn something new every single day, and focus on what it means to be a good person and a person of strong character. Aristotle said that courage is the ultimate virtue. Without it, there are no other virtues. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty, you don't have justice, you don't have beauty, you don't have wonder. And so at age 13, I want you to commit yourself to a life of courage. Courage is doing the right thing when you don't know how it's going to work out. Courage is committing yourself to the correct course of action, regardless of the cost associated to it.
Every human being, I believe, is made in the image of the divine, is sacred, is unique, and if we get away from this principle as we have, we not only have moral degradation, we not only have the collapsing society around us, but it's bad for that being itself. That being itself is unique. That being has rights, and who are we to say, just because we're older, that we get to murder it?
This is Voices with Vicky. Your voice matters. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Charlie Kirk, the legacy he left behind, the voice that he had, the courage that he gave others to have a strong voice as well. We're going to reflect on him and have some conversation, because that's what Charlie would want. Before we get into this today, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Please share this. Please talk about this with people, because I think this is a game changer. He created the company Turning Point USA, and I believe that there is a turning point occurring. It's quite sad to be honest with you, because this morning, I don't think anybody got any sleep last night. And early this morning, I was up thinking and thought to myself, oh my goodness, did Charlie Kirk have to die so everybody else's voices could be risen? What's the message here? What's happening? And every content creator that I know, either if it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everyone I know is both terrified and has more courage than ever to speak up for how they feel, to want to have civil discourse, to want America to be united. And I'm recording this today on 9/11, a day that 24 years ago today, this country was maybe more united than ever. And now, 24 years later, where are we? We need to take Charlie's advice, and we need to keep talking. Let's listen to some of his words here.
When people stop talking, really bad stuff starts. When marriages stop talking, divorce happens. When civilization stop talking, civil war ensues. When you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to want to commit violence against that group. What we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable disagreement where violence is not an option.
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
This is something that I think a lot of us have talked about on our various channels and everything, is that, a lot of us started these channels to have civil discourse, to be able to reach people, to be able to talk about stuff that the mainstream wasn't, to try to reach in a different way than what we've been doing over the last, 5 to 10 years. Things have gotten dangerously off course. And if this isn't proof at this point, I don't know what is after what happened yesterday. And the thing that is so unbelievably hard to wrap my brain around is the fact that people are celebrating this right now. And I believe that the people that are celebrating it really are the fringe people at the heart of it. And what I've also noticed is that people that like to put Charlie Kirk down or talk about how terrible he was or what a terrible human he was or something are also the people that have never actually sat down and watched Charlie Kirk speak, listened to his civil discourse, his debates. They just cherry pick little pieces of conversation and read that off as if it meant something that it perhaps didn't. And we see that a lot. We see that a lot. People like to manipulate the media, the news. They did it to Trump. They do it to people all the time. It's easy to do. It's easy to take people out of context and paint them as a villain. And what's also amazing to me is that there's people not just celebrating it, or they're laughing about it. And I'm really not going to make this the focus of this video today, because I'm really not going to focus on people like that anymore. It's not worth it. The other side of this and what we can do to create positive change in the world is worth it. And arguing with people like that isn't going to get anybody any place, because they've made their decision. They've made up their minds about what they think, and they are actively choosing to be that way. And I'm actively choosing to try to be a better listener, to try to be a better speaker, to just try to be a better person. And that doesn't mean I'm going to put up with abuse and put up with crap from people, because I'm not. And of course, there's going to be times where people say things that I completely disagree with. There's going to be things that I have boundaries about. That's going to continue to be a thing. But this has changed the world. This has changed everything. And one thing that I thought about a lot, as this unfolded and as this, happened yesterday, and I even said it to a few people that I know. I said it was just recently that I disagreed with something Charlie Kirk had to say, and I was quite heated about it, to tell the truth. And it was in one of my episodes, I think 2 weeks ago, that had to do with the trans shooter incident that happened in Minnesota. And I could speak my mind on that, and other people could agree or disagree. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's what I don't understand is, when did it become that having an opinion, having a disagreement, speaking your mind, and having civil discourse, when did it become okay for the penalty for that to be death? Because that's what I'm hearing from some of these people, that it's okay to kill someone just because of their opinion. What I think the real problem with Charlie Kirk is that he was effective. He invoked change in people. He was waking people up. He was getting people to see his side of the conversation more than ever, more than maybe we've ever seen. I think people were jealous that he was good at what he did. So I want to show you the clip of what it was that I said a couple of weeks ago. And we could talk about that a little bit, because I think that it's really pivotal and important to realize that just because I didn't like something that he said does not mean that he should not be here anymore. Dangerously delusional. They're all going to go out and do something like this. And that is just absolutely false. So I think speaking like this is totally inappropriate in a time like this to say something like that. Charlie Kirk, if you are crazy enough to want to hormonally and surgically change your sex, you have a mental disorder, and you are too crazy to own a firearm. That's funny that they go out there and say that, when they're the first people that say everybody has a right to bear arms, blah, 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 but except trans people. And, I disagree with that. I do think we have to be careful with people that are mentally ill. I think we do need to have some kind of safekeeping in place about firearms when it comes to that. I don't know where that line is because of the Second Amendment. But again, this is just sort of broad brushing all transsexuals together and saying they're all violent and terrible. And that is not true. So yeah, that was me criticizing Charlie Kirk for a tweet that he put out after the shooting in Minnesota a few weeks ago. It's so crazy to me that I just was saying this, and then what happened? It's heartbreaking, and my opinion doesn't change about the tweet or anything like that. I just wanted to point out that even though I'm devastated that Charlie Kirk was murdered, I could disagree with him sometimes. And I don't understand how people can't see that two things can be true at once. It's a devastating, awful loss. It should not have happened. It's disgusting. I'm terrified as to where this is going, but we can still have civil discourse. Stop being so violent. Stop doing this.
If you're celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder because you think that he was a right-wing extremist, have you considered the possibility that his murder creates actual right-wing extremists? I don't think you guys understand that Charlie Kirk built his massive following slowly and steadily through moderate and civil discourse. But now that he is gone, that vacuum will be filled with discourse that is probably going to be far less moderate and far less civil. Charlie Kirk was not just good for the right, he was good for the left as well, because he upheld an environment of civil, nonviolent discourse between.
And this is what people fail to see, that's really truly what he was all about. And he actually was a really peaceful guy. I mean, come on. You didn't have to like everything that came out of his mouth. And I think it's by choice. People choose to not listen. People choose to not want to hear it. Because as soon as you're labeled as a conservative or a right winger or a Trump supporter, everything you have to say goes down the toilet. And the ironic part about it is it's the people that say that they want to be so inclusive. Well, who are you being inclusive to? Because being inclusive means you're going to have thoughts and opinions that don't match all the time.
The left and the right, but I'm not so sure that the figures that follow him will do the same. I want to turn the temperature down, but it seems like every time there's a horrific national tragedy, from the assassination attempt on Trump to the stabbing in Charlotte to now the murder of Charlie Kirk. Every time something like this happens, so many people on the left show their true character as something so unrecognizably evil that it pushes so many people to believe that civil discourse is no longer a possibility. And can you really blame them? Because when you celebrate this, just because you disagreed with Charlie, you are saying that you think that death is a valid penalty for disagreement.
And that's exactly what the problem is. And maybe I'm being naive, guys, but I believe that the future is now, that things are going to actually change. People are going to start waking up. One element of this, though, that I'm concerned about is the media. They need to stop. There was a guy yesterday on MSNBC that made ridiculous remarks. I'm not even going to play them if there's clips out there on it, and they fired the guy. Thank God. Thank God there's some accountability. Foolishness on national television. And they go out and say things that are just categorically false, wrong, immoral, unethical. People lie, too. They lie. They make up stories. They come up with wild conspiracies. I can't do anything but believe that finally we are at the turning point.
What advice do you have for me as I move into adulthood in order to become a more informed and involved citizen?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, and I have hope thanks to people like you. How old are you again?
13.
13. Here's a couple things I want to encourage you to do. Learn something new every single day, and focus on what it means to be a good person and a person of strong character. Aristotle said that courage is the ultimate virtue. Without it, there are no other virtues. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty, you don't have justice, you don't have beauty, you don't have wonder. And so at age 13, I want you to commit yourself to a life of courage. Courage is doing the right thing when you don't know how it's going to work out. Courage is committing yourself to the correct course of action, regardless of the cost associated to it.
Every human being, I believe, is made in the image of the divine, is sacred, is unique, and if we get away from this principle as we have, we not only have moral degradation, we not only have the collapsing society around us, but it's bad for that being itself. That being itself is unique. That being has rights, and who are we to say, just because we're older, that we get to murder it?
I mean, what an absolute inspiration he was to a lot of people. And this is going to go down in history of one of the biggest assassinations to ever happen in the United States, as far as who he was, what he stood for, what he was trying to do. I mean, he was only 31 years old. He had a young family who I believe was there when this happened. It's forever changed the lives of so many people. I mean, even just think about the college students that witnessed this, you know, the trauma that they're going to go through for years to come, unfortunately. And, you know, it ticks me off because they didn't just commit a terrible, heinous act, killing, of murder, of assassination, but they've done something, they've tainted something, these young people on these college campuses that are trying to make a difference, that are trying to stand up for what they think is right. I don't know what we're doing. We're creating this environment where it's not even safe to go to a college campus and watch a person speak. This has to stop. Something needs to be done. And I believe that the greatest thing we can do right now, the strongest thing we have on our side, is our voices, is our belief and our faith in God, is our belief and our faith in the things that we love and we care about, our friends and our families. You know, in the last 24 hours, there's been so many things that have gone through my mind as far as doing this episode, as far as talking to people in this space and exchanging ideas and talking and reflecting and kind of mourning the situation that we're in. And I've said to myself 1,000 times, and again, this is somebody that I had discourse with at times that didn't agree with him all the time. I'm asking myself, what would Charlie do? I mean, there's a lot of clips of Charlie conversing and interacting with young people on different campuses and different spots, different places, whatnot. And there's so many clips I could play, but this is one I thought was appropriate, considering a lot of what we discuss on this channel about LGBT, in particular, some of the trans stuff that we have happening in America right now and how it's affecting young people. And young people have really lost their identities and they're kind of flocking to the trans identity, and they're doing it very, very young. And there's a lot to that, obviously, that as far as accountability or lack of accountability. I actually have an episode coming out on that soon, but I have delayed it because of what's gone on. But let's take a look at this clip with Charlie talking to somebody that says that they're trans identified.
I want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that since like 3rd grade. And I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know like with the the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not, what's helpful, because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Yeah.
I know that you might not feel that way, but I think that is something that you can achieve. I think that with the right team and the right people, you don't have to wage war on your body. You can learn to love your body.
I think the way he said that and how he put that was extremely respectful. I mean, this is something that I could make an episode about that's 6 hours long. I could do this all day and sit here and react to different clips of him and things he had to say. There's just so much to it. And I'm sure someday I will go into it again or use examples of things that he said that I felt were inspirational or that were important or that highlighted a particular point. I think that's very special that we have all of that footage to be able to do that in his memory. So guys, please let me know in the comments what you think about what happened and how you feel today, what you think about the future, and if this is going to change things for the better. It's such a weird thing to say that, you know, someone passing away is going to change things for the better long term. You know, it's like, what else are you supposed to get out of this? You know, because it's not supposed to be like this. I don't know. I'm feeling so conflicted because this person's still supposed to be here on the one hand, but on the other hand, I know that he won't be and he can't be. So all we can do is look for silver lining, look for a path forward, look for things that we can do to learn and grow together. I'll see you in the next one.